Hi, everyone. My name is Dean Mastrojohn. I'm the Senior Vice President of Media here at Goodfuse.
Hi, I'm Jenifer Slaw, Senior Vice President of Media at Goodfuse Communications. Hi, Dean.
Hey, Jen. On
Hey.
today's episode of The New Abnormal, we're going to look back on this crazy year, especially its effect on media and how the media has been covering COVID and the pandemic over the last almost 12 months now. And what can we expect from the media as we move ahead post-COVID?
I can't believe it's been a year, Dean. It's incredible. And if you look back, the biggest thing that jumps out, at least for me, is that the only beat in 2020 was healthcare, right? It was amazing how everything turned on its axis, and whether or not you had background in healthcare or science at all, you were a healthcare journalist, right?
Yeah, I mean, if you look at even these newsrooms, how slimmed down they've been over the last years, even pre-COVID, it was an all hands on deck situation. The sports reporters were not covering COVID, whether they liked it or not.
Right. No, it's true. And there really was no room for error if you were going to build trust. You had to get it right. So, in a way, I think media were almost becoming a public health agency in their own right. Do you agree?
For sure. There's no doubt about it. And we'll see how we'll see how that kind of shapes up, how that changes the media, then the press coverage as we move ahead into 2021.
Yeah, I mean, one big key learning from my perspective from 2020, though, especially from a mainstream perspective, was that there was just the sheer volume of news was so overwhelming that it put news directors and editors in this position to choose speed sometimes over accuracy. And the pressure to break COVID-19 related news at times could have sacrificed some in-depth coverage, which could lead to some miscommunication, confusion, even inaccuracies at times. Do you agree?
Yeah, there's no doubt about it. I mean, like I said earlier, it was an all hands on deck situation. They were doing their best with what they had, and sometimes there were mistakes, and we'll see where it leads us. But I think when we look ahead, how this is going to change things. I think if we look back at the last year, if 2020 has really taught us anything, I think it's really the power of scientific innovation to save lives on the grandest of scales, right? I think when you look at the pandemic, it's going to leave a mark on science and pharma news coverage as we move ahead. Not really how these stories are covered, but what stories are covered, right? I
Yeah.
mean, science is basically, I've been telling people, it's hit the mainstream like it's never have before, and the general population has this growing appetite now for this kind of news that's barely existed before. Like I tell people, the genie's out of the bottle, right?
Yeah, I mean, it does bring up the issue of trust, though, from the last year, right? The genie's out of the bottle, but trust is critical when you're communicating medical information. And I think there's still a little bit of a hill to climb here, especially as we do move forward. As we know, people have been skeptical of the media even before the pandemic. So
Yeah,
they have a job to do here.
yeah, for sure. And I think, that job is going to beg additional questions from the mainstream, right? And it's going to be even more challenging for them because people are going to be asking questions that have never been asked before. Like, we were able to advance a COVID cure or COVID vaccine in less than 12 months. Why can't we do the same for neurodegenerative diseases like Alzheimer's, Parkinson's, areas where we haven't had as much innovation or
Yeah.
luck from a scientific perspective? Cancer.
Yeah.
Why are these things taking so long? If we could figure out COVID in less than a year, why can't we figure these things out, right? So these are the challenging questions that, reporters, big pharma, little pharma, biotechs, and everyone in between, academia, are going to have to figure out and basically speak to in lay terms and in ways people can understand, right?
Yeah.
But ultimately, I guess the point is that, the pandemic has really lit this spark for facts and understanding, and it's going to be up to the general scientific community and the media to heed the call, right, to help people understand these issues.
Yeah, no, it's exciting, if anything, now as we move forward. We just have to ask the question, okay, now what has media learned? And are they going to now go deeper, right? Because the question was, were they not asking always the right questions? Or in some cases, maybe they didn't even know the questions to ask, but now they've learned. So yes, to your point, when people have questions now, what does this mean for cancer and other diseases? Perhaps they will now know where to look and which sources they need to ask, which I think is actually very exciting as we move forward.
Yeah, I think it's going to be fascinating, and I know you and I are going to be covering it and watching it very, very closely, and we'll see where it takes us. Hopefully, this pandemic will be behind us over the next couple of months, and we'll see basically what effect it's had. So.
Yeah, no, I hope so, Dean. And you and I will continue to talk about it. And it's been quite a year, and I'm looking forward to this being over and us seeing how the media landscape, responds as we see the vaccine rollout start to speed up and hopefully see some return to normalcy. But we'll be watching for sure. It's always good talking to you.
Yep, always great to chat with you too, Jen. Have a great day.
All right, you too.
Bye.
Bye.